Burkina Faso's junta has expelled the UN's top official to the West African nation over a report about children caught up in the jihadist conflict. Carol Flores Merezniak was declared persona non grata because of her role in drafting the reports that came out in March. Covering a 2-year period, the study detailed more than 2,000 cases of reported child recruitment, killings, sexual violence and abuse, blaming Islamic insurgents, government soldiers and civilian defense forces. The military government, which came to power in September 2022 and is led by Captain Ibrahim Traore, said it had not been consulted by the UN, saying the reports contained unfounded allegations. It did not cite any documentation or court rulings to support the alleged cases of violations against children attributed to the valiant Burkinabe fighters, the government statement said. Ms. Flores Merezniak was appointed in July 2024, more than 18 months after her predecessor was expelled. Mourners paid tribute to media influencer and a vocal supporter of Burkina Faso's government, Alain Christophe Traore, known as Alino Faso, as his remains arrived in Ouagadougou from Abidjan on Monday in an organized repatriation. Footage captured at Ouagadougou International Airport shows state protocol officials carrying Faso's coffin to a waiting vehicle while mourners observed the procession. Faso's body was then transported to the morgue of Ouagadougou General Hospital for postmortem examinations before the funeral. The repatriation followed coordination between the government of Burkina Faso and the Traore family. Authorities in Burkina Faso confirmed that the Ivory Coast officials agreed to return his remains after months of negotiations. Alino Faso had been detained in Abidjan on charges of attempted coup. 7 months later, Ivorian authorities reported that he had committed suicide in cell. Alino's supporters reject this claim, calling his death a villainous murder, while the Burkinabe government has called it an assassination and rejected the suicide theory. The investigation into the circumstances of his death is still underway. Amid a devastating war that has raged in Sudan for more than 2 years, as humanitarian crises deepen and millions are displaced, Sudanese citizens were stunned by a move described as a historic concession of national sovereignty. Abdel Fattah al-Burhan, head of the Sovereignty Council, formally recognized Egypt's sovereignty over the Halab, Shalatin and Abu Ramah Triangle, a unilateral decision that has ignited widespread criticism in Sudan. The strategic triangle, located on the Red Sea and spanning more than 20,000 square kilometers, is believed to be rich in natural resources such as phosphates and manganese and serves as a vital gateway for navigation and international trade. Egypt has maintained military control over the area since the 1990s, while Khartoum continued to insist on its Sudanese identity until al-Burhan's recent decision, which officially brought this long-standing dispute to an end. Some critics say the move could be termed as a forfeiture of national sovereignty in exchange for political and military support that could bolster al-Burhan's hold on power. Political and social figures remarked that what other leaders had secretly rejected, al-Burhan signed away openly, granting Cairo what it had long sought for decades.
Europe or about Ghana?
Thank you so much, Bless. We are concerned about both, because in whichever way, there are some benefits to derive, not only by the government, not only by our traditional authorities who are paid royalties, but also by the industry players. So what FLEGT means is Forest Law Enforcement, Governance and Trade. This seeks to not only liberalize, but legitimize the trade that Ghana or any other country will have with Europe. And so what it means is that timber that is being moved from Shidium or from Goso, wherever, should be traced all the way from where it's been cut to where it's been moved to its final destination. The reason being that if you recall, the perfect example I can give you is you recall the blood diamond scenario in Liberia, where there was a major concern that the diamond that was coming from Liberia was
undocumented, not being reported.
And so the aim of the European Union is just to make sure they expand the frontiers of business legitimately. And so even though we have been transporting or shipping timber to Europe, there was no way they could verify the authenticity or the source of this timber. But with these, what it means is that now when I sell, rosewood has been banned, but let me just use rosewood. If I sell rosewood to a company in an automobile company, they are supposed to trace the source to be sure that it was not illegally logged lumber. Because for all you care, I am buying from customer A. But customer A is not deriving that from the original source. And tomorrow, you can take legal action against me that, hey, the wood you use to design the interior of your car is coming from my plantation or from my compartment. And it was not paid for, the due processes were not taken through. And so you can sue both the person who sold to me and me, the buyer, as well. And these are all to avoid it. So it is to ensure, to strengthen governance, transparency, and accountability. And don't forget, it is also opening the premium market to our timber merchants. Those companies, so the companies, the LLL, the Mayor, and the others who are given, who are happy, Samatex, that they have now been legally or officially recognized as verified.
For business interests, that's hooray to them. But for environmentalists, they're still a bit skeptical about what we intend to achieve.
What the environmentalists need to know is that this is to curb the illegal logging.
Really?
Yes, because if you go and log illegally, there's no way you will have any documentation covering whatever you are trying to transport or you are trying to ship out there. And so that will flag you. And in one way or the other, it is to serve as a controlled measure also to ensure that there's proper, don't forget that the Forestry Commission was set up by Act 571, 1999, which tells us to protect and sustainably manage the forest. And so if we're managing the forest and its resources and all of that, there must be avenues we look at in order to ensure that we do not encourage people engaging in the illegalities. Don't forget that when they embark on these illegal activities of logging, what it means is that they are denying our traditional authorities also the royalties that are due them. Because they don't pay any royalties. They just go in there, cut people's timber, and they find their own way. But if we do this, it means that the whole concept is about traceability.
Traceability in whose interest? Because here we are in 1996 or 99, the act you are referring to, the vision of those who were putting up that framework was to sustainably manage our forest reserve. The case cannot be, of today. The fact that our forest reserve has depleted significantly owing to illegal mining, there's illegal logging. All of these challenges are still in the sector. Are you not taking a commercially driven decision as opposed to, well, what people will say, let's totally halt the logging in the
No,
first
it is, I mean, we cannot say, well, let's halt it completely. And indeed, it has a commercial interest. But that commercial interest is not only in the interest of Ghana, but that is government trying to make sure that it expands the frontiers of business for the indigents who are here, who want to do business with Europe. And mind you, we are the first in Africa and the second in the world, second to Indonesia. What it means is that it does not imply that we used to deal with Europe and we were doing it illegally. We were still doing legal lumber, but they could not have a way to trace or to verify. So now there's that geo-tracking that allows you, when you buy, for instance, when you are given the certificate, there's a QR code on the upper right corner of it where you can scan. Once you scan, it gives you every detail, the measurement, the weight, the size of the lumber, and everything.
Yeah, but my challenge is it's not telling you whether or not it's contributing or otherwise to deforestation.
No, it will not, because if it is from a traceable source, it means Forestry Commission approves of where they are felling that tree. So it cannot be from an illegal source. It cannot be from a source that will be contributing to any degradation of what source.
And the argument I'm making to you is not new, is it? Because you see people walk up to you to say, Elikem, we should be planting more instead of, just felling more.
We must always work the balance. And one other thing which I said on your platform here before is that the Forestry Commission is not a weaponized or a militarized institution, like many people think. In our neighboring countries, every foreign forestry official is actually a detachment from the military. And so they are well equipped with sophisticated weapons to match the compatriots there who are, those on the other side who are engaged in the illegality. It has been one major concern we need to look at and to see how we look at that. Unfortunately, not long ago, there was some tragedy that befell this country. We lost 8 gallant men who were also trying to fight this illegal mining.
Right.
That was the major reason why they lost their lives in the line of duty. So I am convinced government will now even reconsider and roll out more robust measures in making sure we nip this in the bud.
Yeah.
It is not only about the trees that have been felled or the galamsey. That whole circle, if you want to go through it, they pollute our water bodies, compromising the aquatic life in those water bodies. That feeds into the soil, that also affects the soil fertility, reaches out into the crop production, and that affects crop productivity. Then that turns into us and leads to health deformities, stillbirths, and all that. I was in one of the mine towns, actually specifically in Obuasi, on the day of the tragedy. I visited four or five different places where they were selling roasted corn. You could see that these were malnourished roasted corns, or there was something wrong with them. And don't forget that the water bodies are also compromised so heavily with these heavy metals. And even though the turbidity may be seen to be going down, that alone does not mean that work is done enough. It will take a lot of time. The level of destruction that has been done will require much more time to be able to do this. And the bioremediation or bioaccumulation, whatever that needs to be done, will take a lot of processes to be done.
What would you say to anyone who's criticizing the country for playing towards Europe's advantage? Because this is a far-reaching certification process, isn't it? The ultimate aim, as some speculate, would also go into cash crops, such as cocoa, for instance. Are you mindful of the long-term implications?
Well, I mean, why are we producing the things we are producing? Is it not to get market for them? And so, do we only want to market in Ghana? Do we not want to be open to... Why do we have the African Free Trade Continental Area?
Because we want to trade.
Because we want to trade. And if we want to trade, mind you, Professor Pierlo Lumumba has been saying that usually you have one African country trying to go and have trade with China. Look at the population of China and the population of any African country except maybe Nigeria and the others. What you're going into is not trade, that is rage. And so if there are opportunities opening up to us, that would open the frontiers for us to also do business. So long as there's fairness at the table, it means you've been given a fair opportunity.
Do you feel that fairness has been upheld? And how are you working with other bodies across the SAB region and the entire African continent? Because you are just pointing out that something... a different set of regulations will apply elsewhere.
I would have loved...
Are you working
I would have loved if the whole ECOWAS had managed to arrive at this on the same time. That would have given us much strength. But you see, sometimes the political will is another. This has taken 16 years for us to reach here. It started from 2009, the late Professor Mills. Then His Excellency John Dramani Mahama took over. Around when he was almost trying to round up things, he lost power. Then another came for 8 years. Little was done as well too. And when President Mahama came, he tasked the sector minister, Honorable Emmanuel Amakofibua, to make sure this is done. Because he wants to see the Ghanaian doing business across. And mind you, this is a president who campaigned on the back of running a 24-hour economy, making sure that he expands business. So we must be open to doing business to anybody across the globe. And that is international trade. And so this is just one of the milestones being chalked, that in 16 years we've been able to arrive at that. First in Africa, second in the world. And it is not only Ghana, it is not only Indonesia. Any country that wants to deal with European Union, these are the conditionalities
they need to meet it, and then we...
So it's just to enforce strict adherence to standards.
But I'm interested also in the companies now getting the certification. How sure are we that there won't be exclusion? Because we need more indigenous companies to get that certification too. Yeah,
we need more. There are processes to go through. Maybe at the right time we even have
flexible? Is it that open for Ghanaian African?
It is flexible. I mean, it is flexible. You know Summertex?
Yes.
You know LLL, MIR, and what's the name? JCM. These are local companies, and they are very eager and happy to be rolled onto this, because you just need to get things right. And we must not say because you are an indigene, let's cut corners for you. You get out there and get locked. So just making sure that the playing ground is fair. If there's a level playing field, it means that all play all. You can also come and prove yourself, and then you'll be given that chance to do so.
Is this to say that illegal logging is no longer a challenge within the West African corridor? Because we know that there's smuggling happening of these woods as well. How sure are we that entire West Africa sub-region would not rush down into Ghana because, yes, the window is now open.
The illegal logging is still even a menace we have.
Yeah.
But you agree with me, Galamsey has overridden whatever concerns there are about illegal logging. Yeah. But then this activity is aimed at also reducing that. So we need to nip it in the bud or try to identify various approaches that we can use to continually bring it down. And this is one of those, because there's no way you can be able to allow, you will be allowed to now transport or ship wood that is not verifiable. Even if it is legal, it must be verifiable and traceable. So if it is not traceable, then there's a question mark there. So this is just aimed at reducing that as well too. So I think that in the long term, it is also to serve as a deterrent to some of those who embark on this enterprise of thinking they can cut corners. And you agree with me when it comes with the European Union and some of these entities, you cannot cut corners but just go the right way. So we aim to do that. And this is a legacy I believe President Mahama would want to also be credited for, that so long as he has spoken about A, B, C, he must be able to do D, E, F. Yeah. And that is what I believe he's
I understand that there's more European support coming in just to help our green initiatives as well.
Yes, the exact figure I don't recall, but if I'm not mistaken, I think I recall the EU rep make mention of about 37 million euros also coming to support our efforts at the green
initiatives and
afforestation or reclamation and all these exercises. And it is even shameful, we must say, that the people who visit the scourge are sometimes, some way, somehow let off the hook or are not apprehended, and then we have to now be seeking donor support. That could have actually built a classroom block, that could have built a hospital, that could have paved a road, rather used to now reclaim and do these kind of things. But I mean, in a nutshell, they have decided to offer, because they've seen that we are positive strides towards doing the right thing. And come on, if that is the case, I believe that even, for instance, climate change, which has become a major global situation, requires a lot of advocacy, more than we are doing. I think not enough has been done on climate change advocacy in Africa in particular. We must begin to say, should we have climate change TV, sustainable development TV, or what have you? And even,
at least we're doing that here. Well, we're doing a number.
I was just coming to say that you in the media play a catalyst role and a major leading role in that effect. And I would even admonish you to continue, because imagine that your CEO decides that, look, of all the vehicles that we have procured, let's also procure one which is an EV. Let there be a motorbike that is not dependent on gasoline. Let us find sustainable buildings that some of these cement companies are beginning to look at how. So the environment is where we all live. When we talk of climate change, some people often think it is about the forest, it is about somewhere far away. It is about how clean your gutter even is in front of you. And you can help do a lot of this advocacy.
And while you're looking at certification, the reason for which logging might take place may not necessarily be for the European market. There's demand even in the country, charcoal.
Yeah, there's demand, and it is, I am sad to tell you that I have heard from some quarters that, for instance, some people, because of the ban on rosewood, are even rather still felling the rosewood and using it for charcoal. The law frowns on that, but not until you apprehend them, you cannot do anything. But a lot of the reasons account for why we had to go we changed from charcoal to gas. I think that was in the early 90s or mid 90s, I recall, when gas was brought and we had to do all of that. The situation hasn't changed, and now it's even the critical moment where we need more of that. So there's the need for a lot of advocacy for people to see the need. But you see, charcoal itself, there are various ways to, again, derive charcoal, not only from wood. I think, if my memory serves me right,
and we have the technology.
The technology allows for other means to use to get charcoal. So we just need to look at the ways.
Oh, I'm told coconuts as well.
Exactly. So that the husk, is it the husk or the coconut? So there are other ways to use other byproducts or waste products to again do that without necessarily having to fell trees and all that. It is the reason why the education is very key, as I was telling you. Maybe multimedia should champion.
We do that all the time. We need your support.
multimedia should should continue.
Definitely.
Maybe have a climate TV session, which will be a 1 hour, 10 minutes dedicated to
We're doing climate talks. We're doing, and we have a lot that we're doing in climate.
So Bless, it means that let's sit down and see what we can do for Forestry Commission to also say we want to support what you are doing, even if it is funding available somewhere. We can come together and say let's look at how.
And then because we need to go, what message would you want to leave those in the green space, CSOs, and all those who matter, stakeholders, as far as this new FIT is concerned? Are we going to sustain this, and what message would you want to leave them with?
This is a sustainable effort by a president who means or who walks his talk. At Forestry Commission, we have no reason to deny the Ghanaian people the opportunity to expand their business and do business with international or doing business globally. It's a feather in our cap, and we would have to safeguard this to make sure that it continues unabated and to the benefit of the Ghanaian. To our traditional authorities, what it means now is that every tree that is felled and transported, your royalties will come to you directly, and nobody will deny you that.
Because it's traceable.
Because it's traceable. So that is good news for everybody. Yes.
Elegam Kotoko is the Deputy Chief Executive for the Forestry Commission. You've heard it right from him as to how we are sustaining this feat. We wait to see what the outcome will be. But that's all time we'll allow us here on Connect Africa. And Blessed Sogah is a wrap from us here in the studio. We'll see you again. Until then, log on to myjoyonline.com. And if you want to watch a playback of this show, you can get that at JoyNews on TV on all of our socials. We'll see you again. Bye-bye.